Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm very excited to present to you the lean mass blueprint. So I have been getting bulking wrong for a long time. I have done the crazy jumping up 20, 30, 40 pounds in a growth phase, sometimes more, just to have my cutting phase be extremely prolonged. So I'm going to give you guys the exact blueprint, what you need to know from nutrition, training, PEDs, peptides, you name it. I'm going to run it through to you guys in the fastest manner possible over this next, hopefully 12 to 15 minute video, but you know I can yap. Without further ado, let's get it. Okay, so most people get it backwards. The first thing that most guys focus on is the scale, is how much they weigh. We all know that for a successful bodybuilder, we are talking about a professional, highly enhanced, top tier genetics. If a guy comes back 10 pounds of lean tissue year over year better with the same or better conditioning, people are blown away. They're like, what did you do? That's amazing. So what makes you think as an amateur, maybe even natural, that you need to put on 30 or 40 pounds in a bulk to then put on what? 5 pounds of lean tissue? Like, it's just unnecessary. So the first thing we're going to break down is nutrition. How much of a surplus do we really want to push in a bulking phase or a massing phase? And then also, what are my core principles that I try to stick to when I am thinking about nutrition? Because I think it's also a good time not to have to measure every single food down to the gram. That's what the dieting phase is for, especially when you're 4, 6, 8 weeks out from a show. Everything has to be so locked in. So I think the off-season phase should be a good time for you to have that type of levity. So let's break it down from A to Z. Number one is going to be calories and food quality. So you notice I didn't say protein, or you notice I didn't say carbs. What I said is total calories and food quality. The reason for this is when we are in a massing phase, the quality of our food and the quality of our digestion is extremely important. A lot of guys will get into this dirty bulking where you're just putting whatever food you can in your mouth. And so that's why calories is king, having that slight surplus, but also food quality being high, foods that you digest well, especially when you're getting up into higher food volumes. If you're eating foods that don't digest well for you, you are going to get bogged down. You're going to feel lethargic. Your training is going to suck. And this is the time of year that your training needs to be at the highest level. Number two of that pyramid is protein intake. So once you've hit your calories and your food quality is high, make sure you hit a certain amount of protein. It's less important in a massing phase because calories are higher and carbohydrates are higher to hit your protein. But I think it's always a good benchmark to, let's say, if you're 200 pounds, I always just say, just shoot simple. 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, I think is a perfectly good landmark. If you're at 170 and you're 200 pounds, I think you'll be just fine. If you're at 230 and you're 200 pounds, I just don't like to see when guys are using 350 grams of their macros towards protein unnecessarily. You're going to be better off putting that towards carbs for a number of reasons. Number one is it's better for energy. And number two is it takes less to digest. So if you're eating 350 grams of protein a day, your kidneys are going to be taxed, your digestion is going to be taxed, your stomach enzymes are going to be taxed. So what you want to do is focus more on carbohydrates to push those calories up and get more glycogen for training. And number three in this hierarchy is going to be your breakdown of carbs and fats. I just don't think it's as hugely as important as some people make it. I would always say keep fats in a bulking phase under, let's say, 100 grams. I always like to push carbohydrates higher, but some people are more, they do well with higher fat diets. It's not me personally. Most guys I know, when they are in a massing phase, do way better when the carbohydrates get pushed up because fats are slower digesting. They are going to essentially not be utilized as quickly as energy sources. So when you are bulking, you want carbs that are going to be fast digesting in and out and to fuel your training and also your recovery. So let's do like a quick little sample here for a 70 kilogram male looking to gain weight. I have them at about 2,900 calories, 220 protein, 330 carbs, 82 fat. I think that's like a very, very good baseline. You can see it hits all of those metrics. We're right about 1 to 1.2 grams of protein. We are at a nice breakdown of carbs and fats. I like to have them right about 4 to 1. So we're 3 to 4 to 1. So I'm right in that range. I think that's going to put you guys at a baseline. So find your calories, hit your protein marker, and then I try to shoot for a 4 to 1 ratio of carbs to fats once you've hit those protein marker and deducted that from your total calories. Let's talk about training. When we are in a surplus, our training capacity is going to be the highest. We're going to be the strongest. We're going to recover better, but that doesn't mean just throwing junk volume. I know guys when they're bulking will just be in the gym for 3 hours for no reason. You should be just as efficient in your training in your bulking phase as in your cutting phase because more is not always better. What I would insinuate is, especially during during a bulking phase is being more careful with your tempo, more careful with your range of motion, because you're going to be stronger. You're going to be more apt to want to go for those PRs, which is great. You want to progressively overload, but within the confines of really, really good form. If you are in a progression phase, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I would break down your split and also what you want to prioritize in those sessions. So if you are in a massing phase and you only have 2 to 3 days to train full body every day of the week, do not try to do like a push, pull, legs. If you only have 3 days to train, you want to hit your muscle groups more frequently, usually 2 times a week. So if you only have 3 days a week to train, I would highly suggest a full body split where you're tapping 2, 3, 4 working sets of major muscle groups in every single session. If you have more of like 4 days, I would go an upper lower, meaning you have 2 upper days that are mixed upper. So you'd have some lats, some chest, some delts, and then you'd have 2 full lower days, maybe one more of a quad dominant and then the other more of a hamstring and glute dominant. I'm not too partial to that, but if you have 4 days, I'd go upper lower, and then 5, I go a modified PPL. So I'd do a push focused, pull focused. I would do a first leg day and then a rest day. So we'd have 3 on, 1 off, and then we'd go legs, or then we'd have a mixed upper day. So we'd have basically across the board, all upper body. And then the 5th day would be a lower body 2, which could be similar to lower 1 or have it, depending on what you need to work on, more of a posterior emphasis. And then that 7th day is rest. Why I don't give a 6-day or 7-day option? It's not necessary, guys. Get in, train hard, get out, recover, have 2 full rest days a week. For my clients, I never have, people do a 6 or 7 day split. I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I think having those recovery days, getting outside, getting some steps, you can still go in and do some light cardio. But if you are interested in that one-on-one coaching with me, I don't take on a lot of people, guys, so don't expect this to be a discount program. I'm very, very hands-on. I review your videos. We get on weekly calls. But if you are interested in that, comment coach below in the comments and I will send you the application to work with me one-on-one. But if you want more specific breakdowns of what to do in those sessions, go and check out my other videos. I have tons of chest day, shoulder day, back day videos with full breakdowns of form. It would make this video 35 minutes long if I went through every single split and broke down exactly what to do in every single one. I might also make a Google Doc, which I'll link below for you guys to look at with sample days for, let's say, a full body split or an upper lower. But if I get to that, I will make sure to put that down in the description. So let's get on to supplements. What are the supplements that are really going to be worth it? Obviously, HDLT. Clearly. We got a brand new pre-workout 3.0, Janiki juice, which is my favorite pre. We got Seco bars. The protein powder is the best on the planet. I've tried so many different proteins, but I do a lot of baking. I make protein muffins, protein pancakes. I do all types of different things with the protein powder. I make creamies every night with HDLT protein, but it is literally tastes better than any protein that I use. So we have vanilla, we have chocolate, we have maple, and we have cake pop. All are absolutely 10 out of 10s. So make sure you can go check those out, especially during the holidays. When cravings are going to be high and you're going to want something sweet, make yourself some protein cookies, protein muffins. They are the best. Make sure you go get Greg's cookbook too, because I definitely steal some of those recipes from his cookbook. But let's get down to the core supplements that I think are great for anybody, especially when you're in a massing phase. First of all, omegas. If you're not getting salmon or eating other healthy fats from, let's say, fish, omega-3 is essential. Creatine, I would say 5 to 15 grams a day, depending on what you can tolerate. I usually go about 10 grams a day, split into 2 servings, but also have to be cognizant of kidney function, because if you already are having kidney issues, loading it with creatine is also not a great idea. I highly suggest some sort of cluster dextrin or carbolin intra-workout. These are carbs that are derived from rice, corn, potatoes, super easily digestible. I usually do 50 pre and 50 intra carbs from that, and that's like 100 grams of carbs right there. They don't even it's almost like you don't even feel them, which is great, especially in terms of digestion. I would also suggest magnesium citrate and glycinate. Those are great for recovery, for sleep, for regularity. So you can take those before bed and or split them morning and night, but one is really, really good for regularity and the other is really, really good for sleep. And the last thing is some sort of digestive enzyme. If you're eating a lot of food, I would take a digestive enzyme at every major meal. There's a lot of really good brands. I'll link down the brands that I use down in the description below, but I'm not affiliated with them. I just have used them and they've been great for me. So let's talk about PEDs and peptides, guys. Everybody wants to talk about PEDs. I think that they are an important part of the equation, but I think that they are not going to be the thing you want to focus on the most, in the sense of if you're not recovering well, you're not eating well, you're not training hard, the PEDs are not going to be helpful to you, and they're going to make you look like a water buffalo if you choose the wrong compound. So I'm going to tell you guys what works well for me and also what I've seen work well for other people, and some compounds to avoid. So number one is going to be a test base. It is the gold standard. It's bioidentical. If you already have it existing in your body, it's one of the most anabolic substances in terms of androgenous that you can take, but I usually run that anywhere between 300 to 600 milligrams in the off season, and it's just a really good like pillar of any stack. I would never suggest anybody doing hormones without tests as a base. Like I've heard like DECA only cycles. I usually have stayed away from those. I think those are pretty archaic in terms of modern thinking. So test based. So we've got, I think number one compound for me is Primobolan. That's off season cutting. It is so clean. You're not going to have a ton of adverse markers, especially when it comes to liver and kidney toxicity. It's very lowly inflammatory. It's going to give you a high bang for buck. It's not going to make you feel like you're going to lift bench 500 after you're benching 250. It's not going to like make you look crazy hard or dry. It's not that. What it is, it's going to give you nice sustainable gains that are going to stick with you over time. And that's what I think is most important. Everybody wants the short play. When it comes to PEDs, I treat it like anything else in bodybuilding. It's a long play, not only for your musculature, but also for your health. It will stay very, very healthy on either very low doses or moderate doses of Primo. So I run Primo anywhere between 400 to 700 milligrams in the off season. And if you can't get your hands on Primo, my third option is Masteron. Masteron, I think, is a very clean anabolic. Same thing, nice dry gains. You're not going to get watery. It does not aromatize, so will not, both Primo and Masteron will not increase your estradiol on your blood work, and also lead to a lot of times what happens with off-season guys not being really hard. We're using something like DECA or MPP. I think you're going to get a lot better bang for your buck with fewer side effects. So I will bring up MPP. I think it is, I don't use it, but I think it is a good option, especially if you can't get your hands on Primo or Masteron. There are some other considerations with it that you wouldn't have to deal with Masteron and Primo, but I think it is, especially at a dose of let's say 1 to 300 milligrams, if you tolerate it well, a very good compound during a bulking phase. Lubricates the joints. It does give you that kind of watery look, but not as much as DECA. I think DECA is kind of an outdated steroid, especially now that MPP exists. But that being said, I know a lot of guys that have success on DECA. I've actually never taken it, but that being said, I know they can be effective. And the last thing I will mention is going to be HGH. HGH is a terrific compound in the off season. Before bed, it helps with recovery. It's not inherently muscle building in the sense of what you would think about as an androgen, but it does help with all the kind of downstream pathways, IGF, sleep quality, that help with recovery, help with muscle protein synthesis. So indirectly, it is muscle building. Now let's get into peptides. I love IGF LR3 pre-workout. I think it's great for pumps, great for recovery. Second one is glutathione. I take this. It's anti-inflammatory, helps with liver and kidney health. It basically eliminates free radicals from your bloodstream, reduce inflammation. So IGF and glutathione are kind of like non-negotiables for me in the off season. One other one I use is 5-amino-MQ. It's really good for cognition, for energy, for focus. I don't think it's essential, but it is something to look into. If you guys want to work with Transcend, that's who I work with to get all my peptides safely, reliably, not something that's going to be research only. So if you guys want to look into there, link will be down below to get my discount to work with Transcend. All right, let's get into the less exciting, but the most important, which is sleep and recovery. I would start with this almost at the top of the list if people didn't click off of it if I had done that. But you guys, get your 7-8 hours of sleep. Do not scroll before bed. Try to avoid blue light. If you're going to have to watch TV or work on homework or study before bed, put blue light blockers on so it'll help to eliminate that stimulus, because blue light essentially will simulate sunlight for you and will keep you awake for longer. So that's why if you've ever doom scrolling on TikTok and then try to go to bed, it's way, way harder to fall asleep and have restful sleep. The other thing is, I know it's helpful for some people. I used to do it, but doing smoking weed before bed, THC products, are going to help you fall asleep, but they do disrupt deep REM sleep. So I do actually discourage, I used to encourage it to my clients, but I actually discourage it now because it will affect the ability to get into deep sleep. What I'm going to do too is drop for you guys a really, really solid, non-dependent, natural supplement protocol if you have trouble sleeping that you can start implementing today to help with your sleep patterns. So I'm going to drop that down in the description. I think I'm just going to put this all in one Google Doc so I can just put the link and you guys can click it and have it for your disposal. But that being said, I think it's going to be a really, really good asset for you to have. The next thing is water. Just keep it simple, 3 to 4 liters a day. If you need to put in some electrolytes, EAAs, I put Perilite, the HCLT EAA product, and electrolytes into a big like liter bottle, and then I just keep drinking that. It keeps you coming back for it. Put it on ice. It's delicious. I use the pina colada. It's just a no-brainer. I use that for about half my water, and the rest of it I just use a triple filtered system that's under my sink. I would highly suggest that if you have apartment or house, I would get triple osmosis system. They're like $300. Put it underneath your sink. Have high quality drinking water year round, just because you don't want to be drinking tap water. I'm sure you guys are all well aware of that, but no bueno there. Okay, so that is my core lean mass blueprint. If you guys want more of these type of videos, I want to keep this one fast, punchy, to the point. I am going to link the full lean mass blueprint down in the description for you guys to go check out. If you guys are also interested, like I said, in coaching with me, make sure to apply last thing, get all your HCLT subs for the new year. We're going to be running some crazy deals. So I love you guys, appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next video.